Okay, good evening. So, I was uh, checking. I was curious about everyone's credit score because I'm also looking at mine lately, and there's a surprising revelation about the credit score. Um, what's my note? Oh, okay. So, I guess I don't need my notepad, but here's the surprise. Okay, um, they say 60% of the people in Canada. These are Canadian statistics. I think it might translate to American statistics, America as well. 60% of the people have a credit score above 750, right? So it sounds high, 60% of the people, and yet that only accounts for 44% of the entire population. So because 56% of the population has not checked their credit score. So if you haven't checked your credit score, they actually don't know your score. You have to check it in order for them to know your score. So 56% of the population never bothered to check their credit score. And of the 44% that has checked, 60% of those have a credit score of 750 and over. So I calculated what is 60% of 44%. Um, of the entire population. It works out to like around roughly 7 million people. And it coincides with the number of seniors in Canada um, because they say seniors have the highest credit scores. I think a lot of people know that that sort of like truism that a lot of seniors have great credit scores. And it coincides with 60% that have credit scores of 750 or over. 60% of 44% of the entire population, because 56% of the entire population has never bothered to check their credit score. So if you don't check your credit score, they don't know what it is until you check it, right? Because every time you check it, then you kind of get there's sort of like a record on your credit record that somebody checked. So when say you're new, you're like a fresh grad or something, you know, and you don't have any credit history, um, where do you start? What's your credit score? It's not zero. It's actually 300. So credit score starts from 300 and goes as high as 900, right? And anybody with a credit score over 750 is a great um, um, that's a great score, right? So if they look at your score and you got over 750, they'll if you want to borrow money from the bank, they'll give it to you, no problem, no questions asked, barely. But when you start out as a student, never had a job before or something, your credit score is 300. It's actually not zero. Do you need to apply for a credit card in order to increase your credit score? Because how credit score works is you have to. It's really about paying your bills on time. So let's say you do pay your bill on time, but only in cash, right? Like your whole life, you just pay your bills on time, but only in cash. There is a way for you to get that onto your credit, right, to help your credit score. Usually before they said, if you pay your bills, right, but only in cash, you would have no credit record, no credit score. But now you can actually get that onto your onto a record that will help your credit score, right? Um, so I'll talk about that later, because um, a credit score is about paying your bills on time. It's not. That's why you have great credit. That's why people will lend you money, because if you have a great credit score, it's about paying your bills on time. So the when you ask a bank for a loan, They look at your credit score, and it's a good score. It means you've been paying your bills on time. That means they can trust you to lend you money. All right. Now let's say, and so do you necessarily need to open, get your own credit card? Not necessarily. And here's how. Um, Going back to what I mentioned earlier, let's say you got cable bill, or let's say you got rent, and you've been paying them by cash, right? You can ask the cable company or the company you're paying rent to open an account, like to put those payments onto your credit history. And I'll post the web page about what I'm talking about to accompany the post with this video. So let's say I have cable, right? But I pay it in cash, like debit card, not credit card, debit card, direct withdrawal. I can ask the cable company to put that bill onto a credit report, and every month it gets paid off. So it seems like I'm paying off credit. The whole point of credit report is, once again, it's like the spirit of the credit report is to show people that you've been paying your bills on time, right? It's nothing more than to show people that you've been paying your bills on time. That's why if you got a great credit score, they'll say, yes, you have been paying your bills on time. We will lend you this money. If you don't have a good credit score, it's like, in the past, other people would lend you money, found that you didn't pay your bills on time. So that's like the spirit of credit report. So that's one way. Like if you have cable or something, ask them to put your bill onto your credit report, even though you might pay with cash or with debit or direct withdrawal. And then that will help your credit score because it shows that you've been paying the bills on. Another way is, if your parents trust you, they can put you, they can put you as a second card user. When your parents have a car, they put you as a second driver on the car. If they trust you, they can put you as a second user on their credit card. So if you use their credit card, they'll see it. But also, now you're a user on a credit card. Just like if your parents own a car, they put you as a second driver on a car. That helps with your driving record. So if they have a credit card, they can put you as a second user on a credit card. So if you crash the car, they'll know. And if you crash the credit card, they'll know. But that's another way. So there's two ways now that you can build your credit score, show lenders that you are someone that pay bills on time. Right? And surprisingly, when I found out about the credit score statistics in Canada, 60% of the people have a high credit score of 750 and over, but that's only 60% of 44% who have checked their credit score. The other 56% of the total population never even checked their credit score. If you never checked your credit score, you have no score until you check it. 60% of 44 works out roughly to 7 million, which coincides with the fact that people with a credit score of 750 or higher tends to be 65 and older. The rest, majority of Canada, have no idea what their credit score is. Now you have just been informed. Take this knowledge that you were inside your brain to your work tomorrow and get a promotion.